It is a good day to be alive. So I'm going to get right into it this video. I want to get right into the recap. Then we'll look forward. Then I'm going to give you guys a tip that you guys can use. So last week, if you guys followed week number 6, you guys know that I ended the week at 183. And I said, I don't know, man. I think I got a shot. I think I got a chance at 181.2 or 180.8. Well, as of this morning, I was 180.8. So I lost 2.2 pounds last week, which brings my total weight loss down to 8 pounds in 6 weeks. That's 1.25 pounds a week, man. That's pretty good. I am really happy with that. Yeah, it's a little slower than I was hoping in the beginning. I was hoping to be closer to 1.5 pounds, but here's the big benefit. The big benefit is this. I'm pretty sure I haven't lost too much muscle. When you lose fat slowly, when you do things gradually over time, you can be pretty assured that you're losing fat and water, which are the two things that you want to lose. You want to hold on to, you want to cling on to as much of that precious muscle as you possibly can. Even if you're not a bodybuilder, it doesn't even matter. You want to carry as much muscle as you can. Only 1.25 pounds a week at a 180-pound base, I am probably not losing any muscle at all. But 2.2 pounds last week, I don't want to lose 2.2 pounds every week because that's probably a little bit too much. I like to keep it around 1% of my body weight at the most. So man, I am feeling really good. And I did this last week, keeping my numbers pretty much the exact same. Protein, 220, carbs, about 133, fat, a little under 70. And so I didn't have to do anything crazy. I didn't have to do anything drastic. But the carb cycling itself, the addition of the 3 steady-state cardio sessions, I think made all the difference. And the funniest part about it was Thursday was my highest day of the week, where I hit 220 carbs easy. And then yesterday, I put away another 140 or 145. And this morning is the morning when I lost all the weight. I had gotten down to 181.2 earlier in the week after a couple of low days, but it wasn't until this morning when I ate a bunch of carbs the last couple of days and I got a whole lot of sleep, I got a whole lot of rest last night that I hit that 180.8. And so, just goes to show you, man, your body is a complicated machine. It is a complex series of functions and equations and just all these different things all happening at once simultaneously that it can be really hard to predict, what's going on. So that brings me to this week. What am I going to do this week? Well, so this week, what I want to do is I want to make some changes. This week, we're going to make some cuts because I got 9 weeks to go. I got 9 weeks to go, and I am not going to look back 9 weeks from now and say, man, I could have done more. Man, I really wish I would have cut harder. Man, I really wish I would have suffered just a little bit more. You don't want to suffer just for the sake of suffering. I've done that in the past, and that's just kind of silly if you think about it. But at the same time, since I have a fixed date in place with these bodybuilding competitions, I want to give it all I've got. I want to be out of energy on August 18th. The day before the first show, I want to be like, man, this is it. I'm glad it's here because I am freaking done with this. That's how I want to feel. That's the point that I'm trying to get to. I don't want to look back and say, man, I got so much left. I could have done so much more. And so I'm going to make a cut this week, even though things are going really well. I want to keep the wheels greased. I want to keep the momentum alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking to slash about 150 calories from my daily numbers. And this is going to be a great transition into my tip for you guys here today. So I'm going to do that by, I'm going to cut a little bit of protein actually. I'm going to cut a little bit of fat, and I'm going to cut a little bit of carbs. I'm going to kind of cut across the board. And here's the reason why. So I'm going to cut my protein from 220 to about 210. So I'm going to lose about 10 grams of protein per day. That's about 40 calories. Being at a body weight of 180, my protein at 220 or even 210 is certainly sufficient enough to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, or whatever muscle protein synthesis I could possibly stimulate being in such a significant calorie deficit. So I don't mind giving up a few grams of protein. And here's the reason why. Generally speaking, I would much prefer to eat carbs and eat fat right now because they're just so much more enjoyable. Yes, I love chicken. I love steak. I love eggs. I love all that stuff. But that kind of comes with the territory. The really fun stuff for me is having oatmeal, is having bananas, is having Halo Top at night on a high day. That's where it's at. So I want to keep my carbs and my fat as high as I possibly can. I can probably only cut protein once, so I'm going to cut my protein this week from 220 to 210. I don't really want to get close to 200 or under 200 because I need to give my body sufficient amino acids to repair its muscle tissue and to try to hold on to as much muscle as we can. We've done a good job so far. I don't want to put my muscle in jeopardy, or at least any more jeopardy than it's already in, being in a deficit and doing so much cardio. I'm also going to cut my carbs from 133 to about 120. So I'm going to bring it down about 13 grams. That's another 50 calories. So that's 90 calories total. I'm going to get the other 60 calories from fat. So at 9 calories per gram of fat, you're looking at maybe about 6 or 7 grams of fat. So I'm going to bring my fat down into the low 160s. So I'll be at protein 210, carbs 120, fat somewhere around 61, 62 is probably where I'm going to end up. I'm going to do that in the hopes that this week, 179. This week, it's coming, baby. This week, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to ensure that I see that 7 handle on the second digit, because that is going to be a huge motivating factor. I'm starting to feel the grind. I'm starting to feel the laborious process kind of take hold of me, man, right? I still got 9 weeks to go, which isn't a long time, but it kind of is. This would be a tremendous source of inspiration. Seeing the scale drop below 180. Seeing the scale dip into the 170s for the first time in many, many years. Yes, the scale is not the only tool. Yes, the scale is not even the most important thing. But I know that I need to be in the 160s if I want to compete with the big boys on stage on August 19th and August 26th. I just know this. This is a fact. Based on my previous experience, based on the shows I've done in the past, this is where I need to be if I want to compete at this level. So I'm close. If I'm 179 this week, that puts me at 179 with 8 weeks to go. And man, I will be ready to make the final run, the mad dash to the finish line. So that brings me to my tip for you guys this week. It's kind of what I'm doing myself this week. When you make changes, when you make cuts, you've got to do them slowly. You've got to do them gradually. You've got to make just really small cuts. I'm at 133 carbs, 220 protein, and 70 fat, let's say. If I cut down to 100 carbs, and I cut down to 200 protein, that would be several hundred calories. Will I continue to lose weight? Yes. Will I lose a lot more weight than I would have otherwise making the cut that I'm about to make? Yeah, probably. But the problem with that is this. What are you going to do later on? What are you going to do in 3 weeks? What am I going to do in 3 weeks when I've got to make another cut? You're getting closer and closer to the bottom of the barrel. And so this is kind of what I talked about in those first couple of weeks, where you've got to be strategic. You got to think, man. You got to use your noggin. You've got to use your mind. And you've got to take a very strategic approach to the whole thing. Don't act spontaneously. Take a measured, calculated approach and do so in very small increments. So I'm cutting 150 calories off of, you know, my average daily calories are like 2,000 or maybe 2,050. So I'm cutting, I don't know, what, 6.5%, 7%, something like that. That's a pretty sizable cut, but it's not super significant. It's not super drastic. If I cut down to 1,500 calories a day, yeah, I would lose another 3, 4, 5 pounds pretty easily. But then I would probably stall out. And then what am I going to do? Because my goal isn't to get to 175. My goal is to get to 169 or 168 or 167. So you've got to keep your overall goal in mind and make small, gradual cuts to get there. So that's all I got for you guys this week, man. That's all I got for you guys this week. Can't believe it. 180.8. Feeling pretty good. 170 something. man, I'm going to be on, I think I'm on cloud 9 now. Man, I'm going to be on cloud 19 next week if I hit the 170s. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, following along, and supporting me. If you could like this video, share it with your friends, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would really, really help me out a lot. I've got some really fun and exciting things coming on down the chutes over the course of the next couple of months. I think you guys are going to love it. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it, and I really hope this has been helpful. And I'll see you guys next week. And in the meantime, man, God bless. We'll see you guys in just a few days.